Sorry, Mr. Dan. Mr. Donald, sorry, it's Zoom. It's a free version. So at 40 minutes, they always cut it, but no problem. All right, let's continue, sir. So,
all right.
Scientists have been able to come up with that thing, and it really makes life easy. So, if I have a roof now, in short, in my effort, I want to try and get those paints. I want to buy it, but for now, it's still expensive. But the moment be able to get money, I will just get them. Because I felt that it removed the constraint of this guy. That you have to lay the panels, you have to do this. So you can really have any surface. People are in latest phone that will be coming out now. One of the things you will see is that, in short, you can browse about the technology. Circuit board are now being built to the surface of a substance. I can send you the video yourself, where circuit board. So naturally, if you remove the back cover of your phone now, it comes with the speaker. So the moment you put the back cover like this, some circuits that they need to design in the plate has been there already. So now some of the latest technology is that you will have they just paint your phone. The moment they paint your phone, the back cover of your phone with the N-type, the P-type material, then you will have a solar panel at the back, and that can charge your phone wherever you are, where there's light. So far there is sunlight. Now, let me share my screen again. I think share the screen. All right, sir. Now, so this effect. So we need two materials. One in excess of electron, one in deficit of electron. That is how it will work. If you imagine the explanation I make now, that electrons will be freely generated somewhere. Because this one have excess electron now, there is no space again. So if you mistakenly lock out one electron, it doesn't have another space it can enter than to find wires that was connected on this surface. That place, because it doesn't have, it's already excess electron. Now, the other side here, this place is the positive connection, this place is the negative connection. To tell you that it's really two different materials. So if you now, the other material now, this one is in need of electron. So the electron find easy means of crossing and returning back to this place. And what is our aim? Whenever we say we have potential difference, what we are just trying to do is to move electron. If electron can move, then we have electricity. Now, in the reverse way, what could have happened, sir? What could have happened that would have stopped this effect is that if electron can come from this place and go down, that will stop our effect.
Sorry, please. You know, that's the. Please, can you just go over it one more time?
All right. So let me take the two now. Sorry, it breaks. Right. Very fragile stuff. So let's say this is the P material now. This is the N material. Then we added them together like this. So this one has excess. Now what we are saying is that this process will have been spoiled if electrons can move from here back to this place. But there is no way, there is no path in that place except the electron have to go through this place.
All right.
Now, that is the concept of a p-n junctions. Let me draw a p-n junctions for you and explain how it works. It's like a gate. Thank you, God. It's like a gate in civil engineering. A gate for holding waters in a dam.
All right.
Now, so this is the P side. This is the N side. Okay, sorry, this is the P side. This is the N side. The only time this gate can open is when you are coming from the positive side and you open this guy. But if you want to enter from the N side, there's no way. Let me position it very well. So
from
yes, this is the only reasonable direction. If you are applying a force from this direction now, it will never open this door. So what the junction immediately do is that they create a junction like this where electrons cannot go back. That the only thing it can do is to follow any path that is available here and return back.
All right.
So this thing, this PN junction thing, is not a thing of solar panel. Let me be sincere with you.
Okay.
You will see that diode is PN. You will hear that transistor is NPN, PNP. These things were just what I just explained. So it's not an effect that is maybe solar cell. If you have two differently doped semiconductors and you put them together, you will form a PN junction. It's as simple as that. That's just the truth. So in a diode use a silicon gallium diode. But in this one, they use two different silicons, doped by different metal. That's why I want to explain later. I'll just introduce the concept of doping. How did they make one SS positive? How did they make one SS negative? In Nsukka, there's a place called Obimo. In Nsukka, there are presence of sand there. Sand, heap of sand. Where, you know, in Nsukka, if you have ever been to where they are constructing, you will see white sand. They use white sand in Nsukka. They get those white sand from Obimo. The problem we have with already available silica in everywhere, in Nigeria, everywhere, all this sand is that they are mixed with so much impurities. The original silicon is actually white. It's not actually. If you have ever seen pure sand around the beach, you discover that they're actually white. The one that water keeps on washing over the time. Now, so there's excess work of doing the washing first before, say, you want to extract the silicon, you want to remove oxygen atoms from it. But I always see Obimo as a potential for Nigeria for manufacturing of solar panels. That's just the truth. Because I know in the next 10 years, we cannot finish the sand in Obimo. There's plenty as that. I'm telling you, the thing, plenty. That's just the truth. I don't know why we don't have visionary leader that can just look into this thing. Let's start doing these things. Let's start doing this thing. People can actually do it if you give them chance. It's machine that the white man is using to produce this. Bring the machine here. We have the raw materials here. It is here they will buy the raw materials. We send it to them. They bring the finished products in an expensive way. The same thing that is happening to crude oil is happening to every sector. All right, sir. So now the concept of O's and okay. Let me do a little work here. A little. In basic chemistry, if I write Al3 plus in basic chemistry, what it simply means is that as an aluminium ions, what simply means is that aluminium just lost 3 electrons. So what happens is that aluminium ion is in excess of positive electrons. It's 3 plus. He lost 3 electrons. So what we are trying to say is that in real sense, so he lost 3 electrons. It wasn't that he gained 3 electrons. He lost 3. Now, what happens is that he's in excess of positive. That if you touch aluminum at that time, you feel that he has excess positive than negative. That's what actually happened. Now, that's what leads to. You now know that the moment an electron leaves the surface of a P junction or a material, what turns that material is that the material becomes positively charged. Why it doesn't shock you, why you don't feel the shock is because the electron is still within the metal. So whether it's present there or not is because the whole thing will still be electrically neutral. But he has moved from his place. So that his place that he left is what we call a hole. He creates a cavity. That cavity where the photons knock it out from is called a hole. Now, that makes a hole to be positively charged. And that's just the definition about how O is a positive charge. I'm trying to move faster.
No problem.
Doping is adding impurities, and that's why I want to do a small work there. Boron is a semiconductor material that have only 3 valence electrons and on screen. Then if you add boron to intrinsic semiconductor, then each boron atoms will bond with 3 atoms of silicon, leaving 1 covalent bond of silicon half complete. If you do the math, if you do the chemistry, you will discover that if you actually add, you know, silicon is a tetravalent, boron is a trivalent. So by the time you do that combination, you have excess electron. That what the electron is waiting for is something to push it. Then start moving. So when we say that we make it excess electrons, that's what we do. We combine it with another material that when they do their combinations, there will always be 1 electron outside or 2 electrons that can be easily moved as a valenced electron. That's the gist around it. Now, the problem along that line is that it's what we call solubility problem. I will just read that line to you.
All right.
The concentrations of boron is quite low. Usually around 1 atom of boron to each 106 atoms of silicon. All right, some people are joining. I'm trying to bring them.
Welcome. No problem.
Yeah. So what we are saying is that the concentration of boron is actually low. That means that for you to add boron directly to silicon is a lot of work.
Okay.
Now, later in the day, by the time you now look at that, you know, atoms according to Avogadro's law, I think 10 raised to power 23 for 1 mole. That's what Avogadro's law says. So we have a lot of atoms. So by the time you keep adding borons to it, sorry, you are welcome. We are trying to explain what happened in solar panels, how solar panels generate electricity. Mr. Justus and Mr. Ben. Mr. Ben has been with us before, but I think network. Now, so later in the day, the overall net charge of a semiconductor is still neutral. Because the boron tends to not, you can't add as much silicon to boron. Because solubility will not allow you to do that. If you really read a lot about alloying, how metal comes together and form this, you discover that there is much to it. One of the much to it is that what is the interspatial spaces between one atoms and the other atom? That's where the other atoms will fit in. So if that second atom is bigger than the first atom, you won't be able to form them as an alloy. You have to do some other technology to make it work out. Now, so by the time they add borons to silicon, they form a p-type. And all these things I'm telling you, what happens is that when you first of all get a silica, a sand, you tend to wash it, you remove all the impurities from it. After you remove all the impurities from it, you try to heat it up. Any process of removing the oxygen, the O2 there, you remove the oxygen, then you form white silicon. If you ever browse how silicon look like, it's a white material. Then when you form the white material, they tend to convert it to something paint-like. But the process is actually extremely dangerous for human health. So now they spray the silicon upon a surface. They put a metal contact there. They spray another silicon, the another doped one on the other one, and they form it. So how did we get the N-type? The N-type is getting by phosphorus. Anytime you had 5 pentavalent impurities to silicon, sorry, Mr. Ben, we have done a lot of things. Sorry, I know you were out for some time. So what you form is an N-type. That one is in deficiency of electron. But the problem is that the electron from the p-type cannot just come to the N-type because of that gate effect that I explained of p-n junctions I explained before. All right. Also, the concentrations of phosphorus atom is again quite low, typically greater than that of boron, because boron needs 1 to 106. It needs 1 to 103 atoms. So that's how they form the N-type. I'm trying to. I will still give us the opportunity to ask questions. So the moment you add these two materials together, the p-type and a material that is in excess of a semiconductor that is in the excess of positive charges and the one that is in deficient, you know, the negative now is not really means the absence of electron. It means that is in deficient. We have made the electron more than, that's what the magic is. If you add those semiconductors together, what you will form is a p-n junction. And I explained to us that p-n junctions is by no means a solar panel thing. It's a real life effect. Now, let me do some little work for us so that we understand. Please, I don't know if when you are not around, I try to explain what a PN junction is. So I really just want to do small work again. So this is how a PN junction looks like. So why this side is a P, this side is a P. So this place is a different material on its own. Everything here is a different material on its own. An N dope type, a P dope type materials. You combine them together, they form something like a gate naturally. Now, you see for a PN junctions, please, are we together? For a PN junction, they have something. This is core electronics. I did a lot of things in electronics. I have a lot of knowledge in electronics. Now, if you have a PN junctions, the amount of potential you required, if you just look at your door now, your current door now, the door of your house now is a very good example of a PN junction. You discover that if you are coming from outside, you can easily push the door and enter. You can easily push the door and enter. But if you are coming from, if you want to go outside, you have to pull the door. Sure, we understand. Yes. Now, you see that the amount of energy you need to enter and the one you need to go out is two different things. But if you have a very big man that can break the door, you can still break it in that same direction. Now, what happens in PN junction is that the forward, we call that in forward bias voltage. That's the voltage potential difference you need to follow this line. Sorry, to follow this part. That thing is called the forward bias voltage. The one that you need to move from the positive to negative. It's easy, it's small. You see, for every semiconductors, that value ranges between 0.43 to 0.67 voltage. For all semiconductors, anyone you combine together. So what we are saying, you will see why this is very important. And I will show you now why it's very important now. Why what I just said now is very important. You don't need to tell me the voltage of your solar panel. The moment you tell me your solar panel, I can tell you everything on it. Now, this is an 100 watts behind me. Because it has 36 cells. If I count it now, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 in a row, and 12 in a column, 12 rows, 3 columns, making 36 cells. Now, if a PN junction is 0.5 voltage, and this thing is connected in series, voltage in series is addition of all the voltages, then I expected this panel to be 18 volts. That's the truth. It's as very simple as that, because that is it. So if I turn the back of the panel now and I show you, this color is 18 volts. Because that is what the theory says. Because it's a combination. So if you want to build 30 volt system, because one of the things we'll be doing in this class is that, tell me any panel you want to build in this world, I will tell you how to go about it. I'll tell you the combination of what you do. You know, there might be things you want to do. If you still need 100 watts, yes, sir. Are you with me? If you need 100 watts, that is at 200 volts. I'll still design it for you. You know, this is 100 watt panel and it's at 18 volts. If you still need 100 watts at 200 volts, it's still possible. So that will be the basis of our next class when we actually look at how to calculate.
How are you able to tell it's 100 watts? You need to describe for the 18 for the volts, but for the watts, how do you know it's 100?
All right.
That's it.
Each cells has 2.85 watts or 2.65 watts each cell. That's the energy generated by each cell. So if you do 36 times 2.85, you will get 100 watts. It's as simple as that. So I really know the nitty-gritty. I follow the data book I read data book for solar cells. So I really know what they can do. I know what their ratings is. This one, the solar cells used in this place, it's not that Nigeria is a very bad country. It's not the effective one. The highest effective one is 6 watts per cell. This one is the very low quality one. It's around 2.85 watts. They won't send such panels to Nigeria, I tell you the truth. It's only used outside the country. So what we are saying is that as big as this 100 watt panel is, if they have used the 6 watts per cell, it will just be half like this, and it will generate 100 watts. Because they only need to add 18 instead of 36. And they will still get the result. So what we are trying to say is that, so because each one is a PN junction, and PN junction has a standard voltage. Now, what I was trying to explain is that you can also come from this way and enter to this door. But if you are doing that, remember that you have to break this door. Your effort will be to break this door. If you want to come out from your house now without hindrance also, is that you have to break your door and force your way out. That is what we call a reverse breakdown voltage in electric. This thing is not a solar thing. That's just the truth. It's purely electronic thing. It's a reverse breakdown voltage, and it's always high. Now, what we are saying is that for electron to tend to move from the other side, they will have to have a very big potentials, which is not going to be possible. This is the concept behind your power supply. The power supply for your laptop, your phone charger now, that is what is happening behind it. Another day, maybe anytime God give us chance, we might look at electronics class. Now, this is what really happens in the PN junction. So now, I come again to our previous explanation, where this guy is in P type, this guy is the N type. This guy has excess electrons. But from the design, the electrons cannot move from here to here because of the gates in between them. So as you knock out these electrons, I've explained what happens, how the energy comes, how they knock it out before. As you knock out the electrons, it doesn't find another means to find a means, which is a route, which is a wire you have connected here. That's the only place, because there's no other space you want to combine again in the P type, because we have already loaded it with excess electrons. So you find this way out to this place, to your load, to anything you design, then it comes back and returns back to the N type that's already missing. So the only direction electron can flow is just to flow from the negative one, from the positive one under to the negative one on the top. So I explain again. So you have the positive one under, you have the negative one on the top. So as you push electron from here, you push it to this place, it goes through the cycle and it returns back to this place. And that is the basis for a solar panel. Now, if you combine several panels together, you form a solar panel. So in our next class, sorry, this is what happens in PN junctions. That's what you are seeing on my screen. Depletion regions. I will only explain this particular. Now, next class, I'll be teaching us how to actually size any panels, design any panels, where to get the solar cells from. I will physically here solder all these things. If there's light, I will solder it together. You'll see how it is being soldered. I will solder it together and I will show you how they soldered it, how they connect it. Then how to know what will be the length of this place to this place, the height of this place to this place, the calculations behind it. I will teach everything that involves that. Now, all right. Okay. So now, if we look at my screen currently now, you will see what I just explained, a summary of everything I explained now. Now, what happens? This is the top negative contact. This is the bottom positive contact. This guy is here. Then this guy is a back contact. Is here. That's the back contact. Adime, I have meter very close now. Even with the intensity of the sun, I will have measured it for you. You have seen that there's power generated even with this currently now. Now, what happens is that as the sun hits the electrons up here, they find their way out, because everywhere here has been occupied. You see that even as he is an N material, as he hits this place up, he enters inside, he wanders and wanders and wanders and wanders. There's no space for you to combine it, because naturally electrons are also flowing this direction. So it goes through the load. So the load now, everything, your inverter, your battery, everything is connected in between these two lines in real life. So it goes through it, flow through the load resistance and return back to you. All right, let me just show some things. So the whole theory I've been trying to explain is summarized in this view line. Electrons with higher energy level flows out of the cells through the wire to the load. After releasing the excess energy into the load, these electrons return back to the cells and fall into. As soon as the electron leaves the cells from the other side, it enters the wires, and this process and this cycle continues from step 1 to step 2. Let me ask us, is there anybody with questions now? Before we just look into some few things that we have for today. Any question? Oh, there's no question. So I can continue, Shay?
Okay, go on.
All right. So if you take a solar panel, what will you see? So if you cut it like this, what you will see is that you'll see the aluminum frame, which is this guy, this frame. You will see the glass cover, which is this guy. You will see the ethylene fencing acetate. It's a material. I have it also inside the house. I will show you in the next class. Just remind me that I said I want to show you ethylene fencing acetate. So
you call it ethylene fitting
acetate. Acetate. Sorry, I'm not a chemistry person. So it's been, though I'm an exceptional student in chemistry. I love chemistry so much. You will have seen it in my explanation self that I fell enough. So another anti-reflecting coating, ARC, is the layer you will meet next if you cut this. Why? There's a concept called the Holocaust. Not Holocaust, Holocaust cost in heat transfer, heat and mass transfer. Now, the concept is that if you form a spherical object and you mistakenly allow rays to enter that thing, we want that rays to lose all its energy inside that spherical thing. What happens? If the ray enter here, it hits a particular wall, when you turn by it keeps eating inside, and it was trapped inside. Now, the problem is that if you know that at the beginning of this class, I explained that 3 things happen to radiations. It can be reflected, it can be absorbed, and it can be filtered. Now, as the sun radiations hit the surface of this guy, you want to escape also, you want to be reflected also. So engineers was trying to do all their best to make sure that the radiation did not go out. So he hits something on the top, he returns back into the cells. So that's what the main function of that layer, just to prevent radiations from being reflection. You will see the reason why as we go along. You will see the reason why the N materials have explained the P materials, which is this guy itself. The N and the P materials is in this guy. The metal contact, the ethylene fencing acetate. If I turn back now, if I turn this panel back, you will see it's a white material and the Teflon PFD layer. If I turn the material, the panel back, you will see all these materials at the back. Okay, I don't know. The space here is a constraint. There's this material inside this place. I don't know, maybe you can see it. It's white. It's inside it, but I will show you. This is the Teflon. But there's a material here. It's like a nylon. That ethylene fencing acetate is like a nylon. It's here. Very close. But don't worry, one of this class, I will bring the raw type that they have not used to make panel at all. I will bring it for you so that you can just see it along the class. All right. So if you everything I explain about what they do, you will find it in this slide. That's what this slide is talking about. Then I need to explain this. This is one of the interesting parts. Very interesting. Irreversibility in solar cells. One time we talked about irreversibility, we talked about what makes solar cell not to work well. At this very junction, I need to tell you that don't be deceived. Solar cells are not the best energy conversion system in the world. They are not. They are not, and they cannot for now. They have a lot of losses. In short, they are not effective. So just follow me as I do the math. Let's do the math together. So if you measure this place to this place, it's 540 mm. If you measure this place to this place, this is about 150 mm. If you do that calculation, that will give you around 1 meter square. So this guy is about 1 meter square. Mr. Ben, you are with us at the beginning of this class. We said solar constant is 1,000 watt per meter square. Sure? What does that mean? That this guy should give us 1,000 watts. If we know simple mathematics, is it not true? But conversely, is giving us 100 watts. That shows that is 10% efficiency.
You need 10 of it.
Sir, let me hear you, sir.
Is it that we will now need 10 of that?
And more space will be occupied. So it just shows that the guy is not really efficient. You need to know that. Even if somebody outside, it takes an engineer to know. Somebody, it's working. That is what everybody is trying to understand. But they don't understand the fact that solar system is not actually the efficient one. So what we are saying is that there are a lot of issues inside it that give it irreversibilities. Reversibilities are what are the reasons why it's not 100% efficient. It's not 100% efficient. And there is no, of course, you know that cycle efficiency and thermal efficiency for any system is never 100%. Now, so one of the errors we are having is that we are having reflection from the surface of the cell. We are having light energy too energetic enough to separate the electrons from the atoms bond. That means not all the energies that comes to the surface of the cells have sufficient energy to actually cause these electrons to leave their place. Some were too energetic, some were less energetic, and they are resistant to flow of electric current. Self-shading. If you see now that they will be self-shading themselves, because you need to put wire here. Certain area of the cells is covered already. So that's the reason why that's one of the reasons why we even have small wires that are doing the job. Don't worry, you will see the wires. I even have the wires here that they used to connect it. I will do the connections for you in the next class. So performance degradations not at optimal temperature. If you have observed, if I have turned the back and you see, the optimal temperature of this guy is 25 degrees Celsius. I did a PhD work with one engineer some time ago, and his PhD work is about how to improve a solar panel efficiency by trying to cool the panel. We are trying to maintain 100%, 25%, 25 degrees Celsius behind. Now, while we do that, I don't know, maybe you can just picture it. We have two cells. One panel, we are cooling it. The other one, we are not cooling it. So we are trying to measure the performance of this guy. Both of them, same rating, same manufacturer. But for this guy, we are trying to cool it from behind. Now, we are measuring the amount of heat that was entering that air that we are using to cool it, so that we can use that heat to do that hot air now to do another job. So we are trying to gain from the two ways. Did we get hot air, and is our panel performing more better than before? That's what the PhD project is all about. Now, so definitely there are things we can do to keep improving it. People are really working. Characteristics of such systems: it doesn't have a moving part. Made from special semiconductors. It's a solid state device. That means there's no fluid at all. There's no fluid at any time at all. There's moving. No pollution, no exhaust. Rapid response. This is one of the awesome part of the solar panel, is that if you have to start a power plant, if you want to start a power plant, you must have started the power plant 6 hours before the power plant will start generating electricity. That's it. Because it takes time for the whole water in the system to get to their boiling temperature. And you know that they boil water at high pressures. So the boiling point also rises in accordance with it. To generate the steam start turning turbines. So it takes a long hours before that happens. But in solar cell, the moment light falls on it, plants to get electricity. So its response is like first order, almost first order. First order is y equals to mx. That means whatsoever your input is, you get an output. At least you get an output. But in other power generating systems, it's not like that. Little maintenance. All you have to do is maybe to clean the surface, and that's all. High power to weight ratio. Yes. If you carry another 100 watt system, you are checking their weight to solar panel. Solar panel is definitely going to be more lighter than it. But in conversely, low power to area. It occupies a lot of area. Just imagine 100 watts occupying this big area. Then what is, so if you have a 4.8 5 kVA generator that is just occupying that small space, if you have to have 5 kVA of this, you have 50 of this. So every place is just occupied. That's the messy part of solar panel. Then solar cells was combined together to form something called solar module. When solar modules are being combined, they form something called solar panels. When panels are combined together, you form something called solar arrays. When you combine some solar arrays together, you form something called solar farms. All right, that was the explanations there. Everything here, I won't deal with it today. We'll be dealing with it on the day we'll be looking at. But question?
These slides will get far.
Sir? This slides.
The slide, she will get it. Yeah.
The slides. All right.
The PowerPoint presentation, the slides.
Let's see what we can do. We'll see what we can do about it. I will discuss with my friend here on his permissions or on the permission of the
Thank you.
I will release it as. All right. Applications of solar PV systems. Where can we apply them? We can apply them in utility interactive systems. What did we mean by utility interactive systems? This is when you actually have a light in your house. Utility, you have a light in your house, a NEPA supply, and you have a solar panel. So they are interactions. When they took the light, the guy comes in. When the light comes back, the guy pushes back and the whole thing. So they are interacting. A standalone system. A standalone system is the one that you don't really need electricity. Everything that's supplying your house is pure solar. It's possible. And residential applications to power lights and household appliances, agricultural applications for irrigations, industrial applications, telecommunications. There are some mass now that they have been powering them using solar panel. Public services applications, health ed applications. Some people use solar panels to generate electricity. In a very good country, if you generate electricity from your solar panel, you can actually connect it to the national grid and the government will be paying you for giving them energy. But don't try it in Nigeria. So why PV system? Is because the cost is low. This is somehow. It's only low in remote location. It's only low over the years. The problem of solar is that it has high initial cost. And I felt that if I have time, I could explain more about this. I don't know if anybody has heard about something called programmable logic controllers before PLC. PLC is used in manufacturing industry. PLC should not be expensive, but it's expensive. PLC is not even in capacity as strong as your laptop, but it's expensive. Because they don't really want it to be available for local people. The same thing is happening in EV. Solar technology is fighting war against oil. You know, war power is in oil. So they really don't want it to be cheap. They know that if it's cheap, if everybody starts having solar, you have solar car, you have electric car, and it's a renewable, then fuel will go down. So they make the initial cost too high for everybody to be able to afford it. So the problem with solar system is actually high initial cost, which pays off over the year, So if you use 250K now to get it done in your house, by the time you use it for, this solar panels has 25 years warranty, as in, it can serve you for 25 years straight up. So by the time you spread,
so that means,
it doesn't.
The panel would not die within 25 years. It takes longer than 25 years for the electrons or the.
It will not die. In short, after that 25 years, it's nothing that it will spoil. Its performance can just be degraded. Like it can come down a little bit, it will decrease. So, but now if you spend 250K over 25 years or over 5 years before you change your battery or change anything, you discover that it pays off. But it has high initial cost. 250,000, I don't have it. And that's the mechanism to push people away from the whole system. All right. It's like Zoom are telling me that they are giving me less than 1 minute, but let me quickly see modularity. So you can add the system up. You know, if you buy a new generator to the generator in your house, you can't add the previous gen to the new gen. For example, you just buy a new fridge. Your house is 6 kVA before. Now it's not 10 kVA. You have to go and buy a 10 kVA generator. You can't go and buy 4 kVA generator and add it to the 6 kVA generator you have before. It doesn't work that way because impedance will not match. So now, but in solar system, it's not like that. You can add them together. It's modularity. You can combine the system. It's eco-friendly. So those are the things we look at and we say these are the advantages. These are the reasons why people rush into solar PV system. If I have done this, I've done a justice to this class. In our next class, we'll be looking at